ICO is a very special game. It has been a very serene experience playing this game. One of my goals with this channel is to help people discover games that are often overlooked because of their age. ICO is one such game. My playthrough of this game has been nothing short of mesmerizing. I adored every minute of this game. It is beautiful. ICO or ICO, depending upon whatever you want to call it, though the actual pronunciation is ICO rather than ICO. So, ICO was released for the PlayStation 2 back in 2001, and for the longest time I've been wanting to play this game. The reason for that is because I love Shadow of the Colossus. It is definitely one of my favorite games of all time. ICO was made by the same studio that made Shadow of the Colossus, and I really wanted to play something similar to that game. Turns out both of these games are actually connected, although it is very subtle. This is supposedly a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus. In this game, we play as a horned boy named ICO. He is taken away from his village to an abandoned castle. There, they entrap him in a stone statue, and then they leave him, saying that this is the way it has to be. The reason being that he is horned, and that is considered as a bad omen in his village. ICO is able to get free after a mild earthquake hits. His struggle along with the shaky ground helps him escape, but he collapses and passes out. He sees a vision in which a girl is imprisoned in a cage, which actually turns out to be true when he wakes up and leaves the statue. At the top of a tower-like building, he sees the very cage with the girl. However, this girl is not a shadowy figure like previously in the dream. ICO is able to get her out of the cage, but then a few shadowy apparitions appear. These are the enemy you fight mostly in this game. They try to take Yorda, that is the girl's name, into these gaping holes in the ground. The enemies themselves spawn from these holes. It is your task to fight them and stop Yorda from being completely submerged into the hole. If she does, then it is game over. So you the player are tasked with killing these shadowy beings with a stick at first, and later on you get a sword as well that deals much more damage. Now the combat itself is pretty simple. You just have to mash the square button to kill the enemies. The difficulty in combat arises when you're surrounded by a lot of these shadowy figures. They hit you and you fall on the ground, and it takes quite some time for you to get up, and in the meantime, one of the enemies creeps up and snatches Yorda, and quickly takes her to one of these gaping holes before you are able to reach for her hand. Now at first I will admit the combat encounters were really annoying to me personally, because I didn't know you could pull out Yorda from these holes. The game gives you no hint whatsoever that you could do that, but I was able to discover it on my own during one of my frustrating encounters, where I had been facing the game over screen for quite some time. I thought to myself, there has to be a way to pull her out. I mean, she is reaching out with her hand like, wait a minute. It is an awful lot like when we are helping her climb ledges. After I learned that I could pull her out, I felt so relieved. This really helped the combat encounters become much easier. I can't even imagine how impossible the game would have been if I had never discovered this. When it comes to the rest of the gameplay, the game is actually pretty fun. Every area is a puzzle mystery. Now the puzzles themselves are of variable difficulty. Some are actually pretty easy, while others have solutions that leave you dumbfounded. I'm not gonna lie, I did look up one or two puzzles, as I couldn't even imagine their solutions, and I actually didn't want to waste too much time on them. The environment itself is used as puzzle sometimes. You have to pull boxes to a certain spot so that Yoda can climb up to you. Other times there are levers that you have to pull by climbing up to a certain spot, which reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed and Naughty Dog games. The game developers over there must have taken a lot of inspiration from this game, as it seems to be a blueprint for modern adventure games. Now, I want to talk about the environment and the world itself. This game immerses you in its world, even though there are 0 NPCs in this game, apart from the enemies of course. The way you save the game is also really unique. To save the game, you have to sit on a couch with Yoda. You feel as though this world, which is now very much empty, had once been full of life. The abandoned towers and ramparts must have been guarded once. The empty halls and chambers must have been lively once. The villagers had left ICO here as a punishment for a crime for which he couldn't be accountable. It wasn't his choice to be born with horns, but he has to face the consequences of it, even though the horns don't make a difference. He is, at the end of the day, still a child. Both Yoda and ICO are alone in this castle, wandering aimlessly. Let's talk about Yoda. She is also a very tragic character at heart. She, like ICO, had also been imprisoned due to reasons that are beyond her control. Her mother is an evil woman who wishes to use her as a vessel for when she is about to get old and die. She plans to use her body to stay alive for generations. This creates a bond between ICO and Yoda, who are facing the challenges which are similar yet very different. Yoda also helps you in traversal by opening these statue doors which act as a save point. Another thing is that we are bonded to this character as the player. We want to save them both. They are innocent children who have found themselves in this awful situation, and that is the incentive that drove me personally to finish this game and see it to the end. We journey through this castle, solving puzzles and killing all of these shadowy beings that are trying to take Yoda away. At last, we are able to make it to the castle gate. But as soon as we are about to leave, Yoda's mother arrives, and there seems to be a contraption in the gate that is hurting Yoda. We try our best to leave, but the gate closes. Now our task is to somehow get this gate opened again so that we can leave. We actually need to open both sides of the gate one by one. There is a light source on the east side of the castle, and there is another on the west side. We have to make it to both of these gate dungeons. When we arrive at the eastern dungeon, after killing numerous hordes of enemies and solving a lot of puzzles, we find that there are many doors blocking the path of the light source. In the eastern dungeon, we find a sword, and with its help, we are able to cut some ropes. This in turn helps us activate these doors. As we are finally able to open up the eastern light source, the light is able to reach the left side of the door and activate its contraption. At this point, the game is only halfway done. Now we have to make it to the other side of the castle. And I have to mention that by this time I had really become attached to Yoda, because each time she was caught by the shadowy enemies, I felt desperate to save her, as if she was a real person. I don't know what it was. Maybe it is the fact that you have to keep guiding her through the whole game. You have to hold her hand, call her when she is not following you. Maybe that makes you attached to her, as you know she is helpless without you. So it is like you're losing someone of your own when she shouts or gasps in danger. We go through some more areas with platforming and riddles, and when we are able to activate the right side of the main castle door, it becomes pretty clear that we can now leave. It feels like a very well-earned reward to get out of this creepy and crazy castle. And as we're about to leave, Yoda gets zapped. She becomes weak, but she is able to open the door. We take her and start to traverse the bridge, but she keeps collapsing. She is hurt, but of course we cannot leave her behind. We are able to make it midway, and then she is zapped again, and the bridge starts to retract. ICO is about to fall, but he makes it to Yoda's side of the bridge, barely. As he grabs onto her hand, her mother appears, and Yoda's hand slips as the darkness envelops her. ICO falls off, but he doesn't die. We must get back to Yoda, as we cannot leave her behind with her insane mother. This final portion of the game was the best in my opinion. The puzzles themselves became a lot more fun to solve, and also the environments themselves were really atmospheric. A lot of the areas that we explore in this section are from the very beginning of the game. Areas like the cave where we got off the boat, the area with the elevator, and also the area where we were shackled and locked inside a statue. During this section, we also find an amazing sword that is able to open doors Yoda used to help us open. Finally, we are able to make it to the room where we were imprisoned in the beginning, and here we find Yoda, who is now herself a statue. We fight a final ensemble of shadow enemies. They all die in a single blow from our new sword, which feels awesome and earned. After defeating them, we enter the Queen's throne room, where the final boss fight begins. She tells us about her plans to use Yoda for her immortality. The boss fight is really intense, and the final blow is satisfying. ICO is able to put an end to this evil being, but she says something concerning at her final moment. She says that Yoda will never be able to leave. A knockback throws ICO against the wall and his horns are broken. The castle itself is now collapsing. A dark version of Yoda is released. She is just as she was in the vision in the beginning. She picks up ICO and takes him to the boat he arrived in with the villagers. As the castle is being destroyed, Yoda alone is left on the island. ICO is saved, but Yoda remained there as her mother had said. Then the credits rolled. And I have to say again that this game is beautiful. It was an amazing experience, even though it is really old now. Like almost 25 years, but it still looks amazing, and I will definitely recommend it to you all. Anyways, stay tuned because I will see you soon. I have some really great videos planned, so subscribe so you can discover my videos, because I have almost 10 subs. I appreciate everyone who is watching. Thank you.